Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're back, and in today's video we're going to be going on a little tour of the studio. First thing you'll notice is that the studio is one room, so I'm set up for more of a sort of writing room than a fully fledged recording studio. I do have the ability to record live instruments in here. Followers of the channel will remember I had my drum kit set up in here. I've actually had full bands in here at one point. I've recorded EPs for singer-songwriters, so I do some recording in here, although now especially I'm set up for more of a sort of writing studio. Anyway, let's get started. You join me here at what is essentially the heart of the studio. Now the first thing I wanted to show off to you is the hilariously named Mackie Big Knob. This piece of gear has probably improved my working life the most. It's a super simple thing. It's essentially a monitor control. Now I'll put in some extra shots so you can see it, the big knob up close. The main knob here is a volume control. You have a source select, mono, mute, dim and monitor select if you have a second pair of monitors. Now the reason why this has been so useful to me is because my interface is mounted right at the back of the desk over there where you can't actually see. So every time I was opening up a new cue or working on anything that had a slightly different volume, I was having to reach over and change the volume there or mute stuff over there, and that was getting really annoying. So to have the monitor control right here by my hand has been super useful. So moving on to the actual physical desk itself, this was a custom design and build from about 6 years ago. I actually really enjoy having all the space. I have sort of like my main area here in the middle, and off to each side I can have like my personal laptop and do emails, and over there I can have like things to do admin and letters or writing stuff down. The size of it also allows me to have a full-size MIDI keyboard on a sliding tray, so if I'm not using the keyboard it can obviously be put in and out. The desk also has inbuilt rack space, so to quickly go through my rack gear, I'm running the Focusrite Sapphire Pro 40 as my interface. Underneath that I have a small patch bay so I can access the rear inputs without having to go around the back of the desk, and underneath that I have the Furman something power conditioner, which is powering everything in the rack. On the other side we have two pretty funny pieces of gear actually. The bottom piece is the Drama MX30 compressor, and that is actually a really nice sounding compressor, especially for live solo instruments. I've used it on things like a live solo cello and really just brings it in nicely. It is however a bit broken. It's got a bit of a crackly gain pot, which basically just means every time I try and record any signal from it there tends to be some annoying crackle in the recording. And that's been like that for like 3 years and I just haven't been bothered to get it fixed. On top of that we have some random Behringer tube gain channel strip, which was primarily bought to look nice in the rack because it is actually a really nice looking piece of gear. And I have actually heard that you can mod these so that the tubes actually work, because I have read that there's like, you can see the tubes through, there's two little windows in the top of the unit and you can see the tubes lighting up, although I don't think they do anything. So that is really, that end of the rack is just really to look nice on pictures and stuff. Moving on to the computer, this is an iMac 3.5 GHz i7 late 2013 model. It's running 32 GB of RAM, so for what it is, it's pretty much maxed out. And actually this is kind of part of the reason why I'm making this video, because this part of the studio is going to be overhauled in the next few months. So I thought it would be cool to sort of document what it's been like for the last 6 years or so. It served me super well. It's starting to chug quite heavily now, and I'm running all of my samples off various Samsung T5 solid state drives. And I also have an 8TB Porsche flash drive as a general storage / backup, and you know, like somewhere to put old sessions and videos and stuff like that. I do also have a MIDI controller, which is not currently here because it is broken, and a new one is on the way, but I use a Korg, I think it's a Nano Studio thing. I'll put a picture of it on the screen. I've obviously also got a wireless keyboard, and that's actually seems like a bit of a pointless thing to say, but it's actually really useful having a wireless keyboard. If I'm in a different part of the room recording a synth or the piano or something, I can take this with me and press record and stop and navigate around my session. And I have a seriously old MacBook Pro here which has nothing on it apart from a program called Video Slave 3. If I'm scoring to picture, I have all of my videos on there and it runs in sync with my main computer and my Cubase sessions, just so that I'm not taking up CPU power running a video on here. It's all just on the other laptop. And I think to finish off the desk area, my main listening monitors, well, my only listening monitors, they are Yamaha HS80s. I've had these things for 7 years. They're super flat sounding. They're not that nice to listen to, but I've learned how they sound. Yeah, they're absolutely fine for me. So I think that ties up this area of the studio. Let's move on. Cheesy. You join me here at the piano area of the studio. Now, if the computer area was the heart of the studio, this is definitely the soul. Followers of the channel will remember the story behind this piano and also the fact that it was sampled by myself and Christian Henson from Spitfire Audio. And in fact, you can go to the Piano Book website and download this piano and play it yourself. So recently I've been trying to get away from my computer screen and also just generally screens in general, and I feel like having an acoustic instrument like a piano is really important to help achieve that. Playing the piano is the core of my musical ability. It's kind of where everything started for me, so being able to come away from the computer and just play on a real instrument, even if it doesn't necessarily need to be coming up with an idea or trying to figure something out, just to play the piano and really just give your mind a bit of a rest and can sometimes conjure up some inspiration. This piano would usually get tuned once every 6 months or so. The humidity level in this room can fluctuate quite a lot, which can obviously completely mess with a piano's tuning. So obviously with everything that has been going on, it's not been tuned for about 10 or so months, so it's feeling a bit wonky donkey, but it's all a bit of character, right? Anyway, moving on. Now, if you can call an area of a room with literally one synth in it a synth area, that is exactly what this is. This is my well, it's not mine, this is actually on loan, which I must make clear. This is on loan from my girlfriend's parents, kindly lent it to me to have a bit of a play around with. This is a Korg M1 synthesizer. This is like the first proper synth that I've ever actually been able to use, and it's been really good fun actually. There's some really interesting sounds on it, like that. Like this one. And I have this hardwired into the back of my audio interface, so any Cubase session I have up and running, I can come over here and just play and it immediately going in. There's no patching or any messing about. With these things, sometimes it's just easier to not bother using it if there's like loads of things you have to do to make it work. So from what I've read online, this is it's kind of like a bit of a legendary piece of gear, and it's got some really like classic sounds on it. I've just been using it in a project that I'm working on now actually, it's been really fun to actually come over to a synth and record it into a cue that I've been working on. Well, I guess this isn't actually the only synth. I do have this tiny little Korg Monotron, which is completely useless in any track apart from one specific sound, which is this. That's great. And I do have this old stylophone as well. With the demonstration. If I can get the the stylus actually out. I think actually a friend lent me this once and I never gave it back, so... with vibrato. Anyway, oh my god. Well, that's why I never use this, because it's impossible to get the stylus in and out. So yeah, that is my, this is my sort of synth area, if you will. Moving on. So finally, you join me over here in the goodie cupboard. Starting on the top here, we of course have the legendary Shure SM57, SM58. Don't need to go into why we have those. AKG D112, which is great on bass amps and bass drums. Rode NT2A, which I'm actually using right now to record this video, and it's also just my general microphone amp and can be used in conjunction with my pride and joy AKG C451 stereo pair on the piano. XLR leads, stationary and a metronome, guitar leads, some more stationery like envelopes, some chargers and some old band merchandise, kind of cool. Some spare keyboards. I actually have loads of these for some reason, and some patch leads, and that is the goodie cupboard. So I actually nearly forgot one of the most exciting areas in the studio, which is these drawers, and in here I have Star Wars scores, various other scores from sessions that I've worked on. I like to try and keep scores, especially ones that like I specifically orchestrated myself or are special for a particular reason, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Over here I've got my Jedi Fallen Order poster. This thing is absolutely gorgeous, that's why I keep looking into the screen rather than the lens, because I'm just looking at it. And over on this side, this is pretty cool as well. This is the first cue that I orchestrated for Jedi Fallen Order and obviously for Stephen. I managed to grab that one from the session and yeah, got it framed just as a kind of a souvenir almost of that whole adventure. Also down here I've got a, oh, this is pretty cool, it's kind of like an art of Jedi Fallen Order, which is a really beautiful book. And in fact you'll probably notice a bit of a theme going here, is I tend to have a lot of Star Wars things dotted around my studio. Over here we've got a Kylo Ren, a Trooper. What have I got over here? It's a bit dark over here, but I've got a little Rey, a Finn, and a Kylo. Over here in this sort of crevice in the wall, crevice in the wall. That sounds so weird. Over here is my drum kit. It's all packed up in its bags, and just an extra cool thing I have out is this resonant kick drum head, which was made up with the band that I used to play in with the logo and everything. Used to obviously use that at gigs and stuff. It was like super cool. Got all my cymbals in this bag down here, and there's a guitar here as well. One last thing is this book, Behind Bars by Elaine Gould. This is essentially the Bible of orchestration, and the whole time I'm doing orchestration I have this at my desk because I commonly refer to it. Yeah, anyone who wants to get into orchestration or is an orchestrator and doesn't have this, I would definitely recommend getting a copy. So that was my studio tour. I hope you all enjoyed it and found it interesting and liked having a look at where I spend my time and what I use and all that kind of stuff. Any questions about anything, feel free to leave a comment below and I will get back to you. That's it for now. See you in the next video.